Hello everyone, welcome back to Progressive Rock Mondays with me, the Prog Nerd, and today I will be doing part 2 of my concept album, my favourite concept albums. And last week I did part 1, so if you haven't seen that I'll link it up here. That was more 70s orientated, even though there is one more 70s album in this list today, but the rest are 80s up to the 2000s. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and if there's anything that I've missed out, I'm terribly sorry. I'm still getting around to listening to a lot of your guys' suggestions, and yeah, I know a lot of you guys last week gave me a load of suggestions to listen to, which I have listened to already, but I formulated this list a while back, so I'm sticking to my list, because I like to be organised and stick to what I know the most about, which are these albums, so these are the ones I know the most about, and yeah, so some of them are going to be ones that you're probably familiar with, and some of them are ones that maybe you are less familiar with, and yeah, let's just get started. So the first one I'm wearing a shirt for, and that is The Wall by Pink Floyd. A lot of you guys were commenting on my video last week saying, "Where's The Wall? Where's The Wall?" I like The Wall. The Wall's very good. It is a very good album, and I'm not going to explain the plot because I think that the majority of my viewers have listened to this album and know the plot, and it's just a very long storyline because it is a very long album. As I mentioned in my last video, it has a similar structure to The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, except the story in this is a bit more intricate, and that's why I'm not going to sit here and explain it because it'll just take so long. So if you want to know the concept of this album, you can just Google it, or you probably already know it already. But they made it into a film, so if you've seen the film then you'll know the concept. But this is a fantastic album, as we all know, and this is 1979, so this is right at the end of the 70s, which is why it didn't make my video last week, because I had exactly 10, and this one was the 11th one. So this is a great album. My favourite tracks, I've got the list up here. Probably, I love a lot Another Brick in the Wall Part 3, and I do obviously Hey You. I actually made a music video for Hey You because as part of one of my college assignments was to make a music video, and I chose Hey You by Pink Floyd because I was really into Pink Floyd at that point, and it's very bad. I don't know if I like. It's really out of sync. It's quite funny though, so I might link it down below if you guys want to watch my weird little student music video that I made for Hey You. But it is very funny, and I had a great time filming it. Unfortunately, at that point, I had COVID. And I had no idea that I had COVID, and I passed it on to all my friends because this was back in like the early days of COVID. Alright, I'm rambling on, but I'll link my weird little music video down below if you want to watch it, but great album. So the next one is The Turn of a Friendly Card by Alan Parsons Project. I had no idea that this was a concept album until I was looking up best concept albums or best progressive rock concept albums, and this one came up, and I was kind of interested. Like, I didn't know that this was a concept album, and the concept is basically it revolves around gambling and the effects of gambling, which makes sense because it's called The Turn of a Friendly Card. But this is a great album. Well, my dad showed me and I loved it when I first heard it, and I still love it now. My favourite tracks on here are Games People Play and both Turn of a Friendly Cards Part 1 and 2. But yeah, this is a great album. If you've not heard it already, or if you're not familiar with the Alan Parsons Project, then give this a listen. It's a great album. Next up, we have Hounds of Love by Kate Bush. I don't think I've expressed much on my channel, but I'm a big Kate Bush fan. I really love her early stuff and this album. I've had endless debates with my friends about whether or not Kate Bush is prog or not. I think that she is. That's my personal opinion. I think that her music is progressive. Her vocal style is definitely it's got progressive like undertones to it. I think it's pretty prog. I mean, Wuthering Heights sounds very prog, but that's not on this album. But I had no idea, again, that this was a concept album, but this is an absolutely beautiful album. You probably know the tracks, Cloud Busting and Running Up That Hill, which Running Up That Hill is probably one of my favourite songs of all time. Such a beautiful song. And this particular album is just really about love and, you know, stuff like that. So it's about romance, passion, falling in love, all that kind of stuff, which is something that I didn't think I would be very interested in, but I just really love Kate Bush's music and her style. And the musicianship as well is very good. I'm yet to re-listen to this album because I've heard it a couple of times and I really need to re-listen to it again, but this is a fantastic album. If you like prog, if you like 80s progressive music, then I think that Kate Bush's album Hounds of Love, which was 1985, will be up your street. And if you have heard maybe a couple of things from Kate Bush, maybe you've heard The Kick Inside or anything like the early Kate Bush, then I think that you'll like this one, because this one's got the 80s feel to it, but it's also got that kind of older Kate Bush feel to it as well. So the next one I don't think is strictly progressive rock, because the band isn't strictly prog, but I have to throw it in there because they were my favourite band for 2-ish years, and that I hold them very closely to my heart, and that is Iron Maiden's Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. Iron Maiden are still one of my favourite bands. I love their sound, and this is, I think, their most progressive rock album. This is a brilliant concept album about a seventh son of a seventh son. I need to just remember the concept because I remember it being quite extensive, but what a fantastic album, and if you have not heard this and you like prog, then please listen to this. It's quite funny because I remember Bruce Dickinson said something in an earlier interview saying, oh, metal can't have keyboards. Explain this then. But this is great. My favourite, I just don't have a favourite track on this. I just love the whole thing. The whole thing fits so lovely together. I mean, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, the actual track, is a progressive rock song. It's progressive in and of itself. But yeah, this is great. I think my favourite Iron Maiden album. And if you want to get more into Iron Maiden, or just want to hear something from a metal band that are clearly influenced by progressive rock, then give this a try. I know that Steve Harris, the bass guitarist, loves his Jethro Tull, so they are all clearly big prog fans, Iron Maiden, and it definitely shows in their music, and especially in this record, so this is one that you should check out. I mean, look, the album cover is pretty cool. That's a very big standout feature about Iron Maiden, is Eddie. I've actually got an Eddie flag that I got from the concert I went to of Iron Maiden, which was in 2018, 3 years ago. Probably one of my favourite concerts of all time. I'm a massive Iron Maiden fan. They're my favourite metal band. And yeah. So this is the next album we have on our list. This is going more into the 90s now, because Seventh Son was in 1988. So this is 1993, I believe. And so this is Rift by Fish, and this is a very, very dark album, dark concept album. It's basically about a guy whose relationship is very strained, and it's crumbling before him, and it's almost like a dream world kind of album. It's like told through like a dream, which is very interesting. A lot of you might be familiar with Fish being more jam orientated band, more into the longer psychedelic-y jam stuff rather than progressive rock, but this is definitely a progressive rock album. I can hear a lot of the early progressive rock influences like Genesis, and then also like the theatrics in there as well. Definitely a lot of Genesis influence on there, and yeah, so this is a great album. If you like prog and want to know a bit more about some more, not modern because this is 90s, but more like neo-progressive rock, then this is great. This is a great one to look into. Well, forward to another 90s album, we have Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from a Memory by Dream Theater. This is the end of the 90s, this is 1999. Brilliant album. I don't really need to say much else because it's Dream Theater, very, very talented people. I mean, Dance of Eternity, crazy good song, crazily talented people. And so this is a album basically about a guy who has like memories of like a murder or like witnessing it or something like that, which like happened in the past. It's a very, very intricate concept, and I recommend just looking more into it because I'm not explaining it very well, but it is very good and a very intricate concept, but it's got themes of murder and stuff like that in it, which is interesting. And yeah, this is probably my second or third favourite Dream Theater. My favourite is Octavarium. And yeah, I was lucky enough before the lockdown to actually see the band play this album in its entirety, which is amazing. I think I might have cried a little bit. But it was great. What a great show. They actually released it on vinyl. They actually like recorded the concert, which was really great because as soon as that came out we had to get it because like we were there. But if any of you guys were there, let me know. And what was your opinion on the concert? Because I thought it was brilliant. I loved it. But yeah, Dream Theater, great band. If you don't know them, which you probably do, I recommend checking them out. They are a progressive metal band. So next up we have this record, which is... Next up we have Deloused in the Comatorium by the Mars Volta. A very, very, very good album. A very good group as well. These vinyl copies of their albums are very, very difficult to find, like original pressings, but I don't know how, but Dad managed to find them. But yeah, this is a great album. This is my introduction to the group, really. The first album that I heard of theirs, like on my own. So this is delving into the 2000s, so this is 2003, I think. And this album has got such an interesting concept. Basically, I've got it up here next to me. If I keep looking over here, that's why. It's because I prefer to read it on here so I don't get it wrong from my head. So basically, this record is about a guy who enters a coma after overdosing on drugs, basically, mixed with rat poison. And such a very specific concept, but such a cool concept. I recommend this album to anyone who doesn't know where to start with modern progressive rock from the 2000s onwards. My favourite tracks on here are... trying to find the actual thing. Televators is a great, great track. I think that's probably my favourite. I'm yet to listen to more of their albums in full, but this one's absolutely great. I know they have other concept albums as well, but this one is the one that I heard and the one that I liked the most. So another one from the 2000s, and this is the late 2000s, this is in 2007. This is Fear of a Blank Planet by Porcupine Tree. That almost went out of my head for some reason. But this is my favourite album of Porcupine Tree, actually. I think my favourite track on here is Sleep Together, because I think that's got such a cool intro. But this is a concept album as well. And this one is very interesting, very dark. It deals with things like mental health in teenagers, like drug use in teenagers and stuff like that. It's very, very interesting and just so well written, well put together. The concept fits the music so well, or I should say the music fits the concept so well. And I really recommend Porcupine Tree to anyone who likes things like Dream Theater, likes things like Opeth, but less in the harder metal side of Opeth. But this is very good, and Steven Wilson's great musician, great producer, and I like a lot of the things that he's remastered. I mean, the Yes albums that he's remastered all sound very good. But this is a great record. I think this is like a limited edition. This is a... oh, okay, I didn't realise this is like a... it's a limited pressing, so... that's cool, didn't know that. The very last concept album on my list, for now, so this is a album that came out in 2013, and I really like this one. It's kind of relating back to Porcupine Tree a bit. Now I've just kind of given it away. But this is The Raven That Refused to Sing and Other Stories by Steven Wilson. Great album. I need to listen to more of his stuff. I listened to his new album that a lot of people didn't really like that much. I thought it was okay. I prefer his early stuff. You know, I'm always open to musicians taking different directions with their music, but I definitely prefer this record. And this one has an interesting concept. I'm not sure if it's directly a concept album or not, because when I googled concept albums, this came up, but on Wikipedia or anywhere I can't really find what the concept is, but I did find something here. This is apparently from this website here. It's a story about a street musician, so someone who busks. If you don't know, I think busking, not sure if that's like a worldwide term, but I know that it's a UK term, but busking is people who stand in the street and perform, basically. So someone could just be playing guitar and you can give money to them, you know, that's what busking is. And it doesn't matter how the weather is, it could be raining or whatever, but this guy will still be performing outside, playing the guitar and singing the music, and I think that's shown through this album. This is, again, if you like Porcupine Tree, then this is a great record to listen to. And yeah, just to delve into the musician side of the Stephen Wilson's solo stuff apart from Porcupine Tree. But yeah, great album, check it out if you haven't already, and I think you'll like it. That is the end of today's video. Let me know your favourite concept albums and I will take a look at them, and I read all the comments, and I know I mentioned before that there was someone who kind of accused me of not really acknowledging my fans and acknowledging all that stuff, but I do try and respond to everyone. I like every comment, it's just sometimes I don't know how to respond because that's just the kind of person I am. But let me know your guys' favourite concept albums and your opinions on my list, because I think that I had a pretty solid list. So Wednesday's video will be another review, which is, I think it's the Khan album Space Shanty, so you can look forward to that, and yeah, I will see you guys on Wednesday. Bye bye.